And welcome back, everybody, for the final time tonight. The final time this split after 4 back-to-back games. CFO, we thought they might have been out of gas, but they managed to find something left in the tank. Let's see if they got any left, or if PSG are going to claim that title after all here in the PCS Spring Split Finals. Before we get started, one more time, I do want to give a massive shout-out to our sponsor, CTBC Bank and Caliber, for making the PCS possible. And, Mr. Clement, we have got one hell of a series here, no matter who wins it all and goes to MSI.
Yeah, and I honestly feel for both of these teams. PSG has been a household brand in the PCS. They have been the symbol for excellence, and they've been able to do it in 3 different iterations if they also send this squad forward. It's such a great proof of concept for the organization about their dedication to the esport and to our region. That's a great story in itself, but on the other side, you have CFO that just came in this split that was comprised of a bunch of Avengers that have been denied repeatedly by PSG and their ilk. So the storylines are just absolutely wild. You have a team that prides itself on cohesion, on history, on their lineage, and then you have CFO that prides itself on its mechanics, on its pure entertainment value, on how they can play the game. So I have to say, even though I'm going to feel very sad for whoever gets knocked out, I will feel so proud for whoever goes forward as well.
No matter what, they will have earned it. We enter picks and bans for the final time this split. And my goodness. Yeah, that's right. We're going to scrape some more silver as we go. PSG, choose red side in a flip here. Ari, Narban by CFO, blind on the blue. We see the Syndra coming through again. We're looking for that Galio to deny mission. I feel like this has got to be a Nautilus coming in very quickly. Maybe not first pick, but certainly first rotation.
I think CFO have cracked the code in terms of like some of the trades here, but okay, the Galio does go down, but I'm a little bit surprised by the Xayah ban, so they're just going to make it Jinx versus Aphelios and make sure they get one hyper carry either way. Nautilus is, it sounds really weird, but I do think that Nautilus is actually the pick right here.
I think so too. It lost last game, but... Yeah, I mean, Leon was still good, too. I think they're thinking about it. What would they rather have, the Nautilus or their pick of AD carry? And I think it's going to be the latter. Shun's going to get that pop-off potential after all in the final game, putting it in the hands of the rookie.
So the difference this time is that there has been a trade for Nautilus and Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench is still open. Koala could definitely go for that. PSG has been very careful about banning that away. But I have to say that's true. You know, Tahm Kench is not exactly a Koala champion. I think he's far more about the engages and has been for the entirety of postseason. So it's a bit of a question mark if he goes for the Tahm Kench or if he goes for the Leona this time around. Looks like he will go with the meta standard here.
Yeah, I mean, he has played a number of games on it in the regular split. I do agree with you, though. He likes to have a little bit more engaged, but I love this level of protection because Shun had been dove a number of times over the course of the series when he's had his hands on this Jinx. I think it makes sense. What's next? Do you expect the mid lane pickup for Mission, or do you see Gemini's pick here?
They do have the team fight oriented pick, so I do like just getting an Ori or a Victor. One of those two are incredibly critical for CFO. Mission shows that he's been able to win the matchup if he gets either of these champions, and he's also allowed to scale. So I like this coming in from them. This is the kind of the game plan that I expected CFO to come into this series, which is basically cornering PSG until the early game and forcing them to play tempo. So PSG going with all the picks they like. This is very classic PSG champions across the board here. But CFO, I do think, have the sort of matchup edge with the first 3 picks here.
Yeah, ban phase 2. We'll see if anything's able to flip here. Of course, those top laners have definitely had a time of it. I think Rest has really showcased his chops when he's getting a chance on that Graze. I don't think Hanabi's picking that Renekton anytime soon. The jungle bans, of course, are the focus. No Volibear for Gemini this time around, but there's still a lot left in the pool available.
Yeah, I expect CFO to just ban out the GP. That's pretty much the strongest champion that is left for Hanabi. And I think that PSG are angling for Hecarim. That has sort of been their go-to in a lot of these situations. I don't think the Lee Sin does all that much for the competent PSG side anymore. Oh, but they're going to go for the Tryndamere here. Huh.
They want to give Rest a good matchup. I mean, I like this. Denying Hanabi has really worked out well for them because it lets them play on a side lane that PSG have to answer.
Yeah, that has definitely been the case here, and with the red side pick, it's very clear that PSG are focusing on a 4-1. Hanabi has been their best player throughout postseason. They want to give him that last shot, and the Graves is going to go,
man.
so I feel like PSG have to take the Hecarim here. Hecarim Ori into this comp, it's just way too strong team fight. It's also a good tank and engage, so either CFO are going to ban it themselves, or PSG have to take it away.
Thinking about it too. A lot of time, this is when the nerves can settle in. Game 5 for the title, for the championship, for these players that have been denied so long, for the likes of Gemini and Mission, Koala, Rest, and for Shun, the newcomer. He came in week 5 and he's at this stage, man. What can this guy do with the full split under his belt?
Yeah, he has. The sky is really the ceiling coming in for this player. Oh, Juhan gonna go for an aggressive pick in the Viego. He has to snowball this one, but he has the setup for it against someone like Mission. I'm not a huge fan of the Lee Sin ban, to be completely honest. I feel like I could have gone with something a little bit better, and this is starting to get interesting because we have seen this Nocturne in the past just completely dismantle PSG's coordination advantage. Once you turn those lights off, PSG now have to communicate between Korean and Mandarin. It makes their job a lot harder, and you can use that during a realm warp.
Not only that, you can use the Nocturne to deliver a ball if you don't go too far on it. And with the Gangplank not banned away, Rest has an opportunity to take it. There's so many power picks on the CFO side here.
Yeah, this is a bit difficult for PSG to respond to. Like most of the times they go for the Jace, but I don't think they want to play with it. Jace is not a split pushing champion here, and their options are a little bit limited. What actually wins out against the Gangplank? This is a really questionable Jace pick. I would not pick the Jace here against something like the.
The orange. Okay, this makes a little more sense. It gives them. I mean, they still technically have a. I want to say 4-1 if they use the Rise, but I don't think so. It's a tank matchup, and that's okay, but Hanabi should get shoved in pretty hard here.
Yeah, it's a matchup where you just farm, but Gameplay really kind of treats you like a bank and just kind of parlays you to death.
What kind of bank, Clement?
I will say...
Would it happen to be a CTBC one?
The best financial institution in Taiwan?
I love it, man. I mean, look,
sure.
What else can we say for these two squads? Like, no matter who wins this, I think we'll be proud of our MSI representative.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves. The title's on the line here for the spring split. It is an incredible journey for both these squads. The rebuilt core mid-jungle duo there coming into PSG Talons, still having a lot of success, even with a handful of stumbling blocks in the communication that they've been working on. And this squad of incredibly talented players in CFO coming together to form the Avengers, really, I think is absolutely fair to say. Not just the J-Team Avengers, but also the Machi Avengers.
True. So many iterations of Avengers on this team. Also the old J-Team Avengers going up against PSG here from Rest. So this is a really fun squad. I will say this game is pretty much all about Juhan. I think that the top lane, there's not much to be done about that one. And for Aphelios, even if he gets fed, because the Nocturne is there, it's going to be difficult for him to have a mid-game impact. It all really comes down to Juhan. If Juhan can be the secondary carry here, he can make a huge difference, and he needs to snowball alongside with the Rise. The Rise, typically we do see him going with the, especially Bay Rise does go for tank build, so he will fall off later. PSG against Nocturne, they cannot afford to go in with a single carry. That is pretty much a death sentence against the opponent's squad. So they need Juhan to be fed.
We'll be relying on junglers to make it happen. Juhan, ball's in his court for this game as we open up for the final match of the PCS Spring Split 2022 here. Let's take a look at our summoners and our choices of the runes. Lethal Tempo on Gemini's Nocturne, of course, and a couple of spell books on the PSG side.
Yep, so looking at these runes, the only thing I would like to point out is just the defensive nature of CFO's bottom side, and you can see how aggressive that PSG are angling for this one. This time around, the Nautilus is going to go with the Glacial Augment, help with the ganks. They're trying to play the tempo side of the matchup, so we'll see if Juhan can find anything in the bot side. Tom Kench can't really help his AD carry pre-level 6, so there's a lot of potential for ganks to go down in there, and there is no cleanse on Shun. So I think that's going to be the primary focus of this draft, at least in the early game for PSG. They have to find a couple of kills, either on the mid lane itself or in this bottom lane.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one, and it is interesting. It's very bold of PSG to really try and flip the script here and play towards the tempo comp. One of the things they've struggled with, if they can find that answer, it feels even better to win the game on what has previously been your weakness. But for CFO, we'll see if they can stymie that. Juhan shows face in mid lane and heads straight into Gemini's jungle for a bit of countering here. We might end up turning into verticals.
Oh, I really love this play from Juhan here. He helps shove the mid lane and also just moves in the 2v2 a little bit earlier. This is very difficult to deny, and it will just keep Gemini down for quite a while here. Unfortunately, he doesn't hit level 3 off of that, so it's actually a little bit slower in terms of the tempo. He's not going to be able to continue that.
Yeah. It's a bit, but not quite as much as I would have liked. Yeah, I think so. I think Bay was a little bit close here, and maybe that's the adaptation. He's got a level 3 right now to try and push Mission in a little farther, and actually going to lead that one on as he goes ahead and gets his back off after the fact. Juhan getting the Gromp and the blue buff on this. Nocturne going to be a little slower to the party, but of course we mostly expect that to come in at level 6 anyways, so Juhan can actually take his time about it.
Yeah, what I'm looking at here is just the warding here from CFO. They're pushed up very far, but they do have a ward on the ramp. Let's see if Juhan is able to spot that one out. Look at it. You will see this one. It's going to go for the scuttle first.
Meanwhile, we'll check in the top side. I mean, of course, we expect this to be a lane that Hanabi will lose, but you know, with all the talk this season of him really carrying over his Worlds form and kind of just wrecking everybody, he knows how to play weak side for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely no stranger to that one. I like this interesting adaptation from Gemini. He's just hovering around here. You think the engage might come, and the wave is pushing up. So if PSG don't sniff this one out, they could be in trouble. Let's see if Shun tries to act this one out and give the dredge line over. Here we go.
There we go, the flash forward. Oh, he's going to get the fear on to the choppers. He walks away, but in comes the Kench.
He's down.
And unified his bench. First blood for the Jinx. It was a heavy investment, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, what a long con that CFO were pulling off right there. Their bot lane was under a lot of threat, but they allowed the pushback to happen. And, you know, Gemini skips a couple of camps, but he's happy to burn all the summoners here, and he can run it back with Paranoia.
What were we talking about? This is what CFO love to do, is to play unexpected, and I love this, the jump scare gank.
Yeah, Red, he didn't actually get the auto attack for Red, but kept the tether on the entire time. Immediate flash in from Koala to shut down the kill. They burnt everything. This is absolutely massive right here. And the reason is, it's because PSG need a lane to snowball. They really can't let CFO get away with a scaling game. And if it's not going to happen in the bot lane, then it's really hard to see where that potential actually comes out for Juhan to get ahead.
Yeah. No, this is tough right now. I think Juhan's even got a harder time. I loved what he was doing to get the counter jungle on. He will actually spot Koala roaming through. Not much he can really do about it, though. He may go down to the bottom side, but without summoners on anybody here, this gets a little hairy, a little hectic, and Juhan does not have 6, so you'd be relying a little bit more on the Spectral Maw.
Yeah, I think PSG have to just pull their wave, or they have to rely on somehow Bay and Juhan being able to sneak into the jungle at this point. It's going to be so dangerous for PSG's bot lane to remain in the position that they are in. So expect a lot of action to be happening right there. We do have Shun with the, again, with the Noon Quiver. This does give a lot of lane control potential over to the side of CFO if they want to utilize it. So keep close attention onto this one. But currently the laning portion here is really dangerous. If you look at the bot lane, the Raptor is about to come up, and we should be getting the Krugs there as well. So, you know, I like this idea from PSG's bot lane. Now, at least they're going to pull off for now, you know, keep themselves safe, and get the Drake in the meantime, too.
Yeah, should be able to grab it. I mean, red side, you do have that advantage. You can walk a little bit more openly into that side of the pit. And Koala is waiting in the wings. Nice little cheeky attempt at the snipe. Zap, not nearly as effective as trying to outsmite, but Juhan claims it in the end. Dragon goes over.
I feel like this is a really smart play because they kind of know that CFO is just trying to pull their lane. So they just flip the script, go for the Drake instead. Really like that play coming in from the side of PSG. And now we do have the hard part for them now. Gemini about to hit 6. They have to spot him out, and they have to keep their own jungle clear. So Bey is going to be forced to rotate here, try to sniff out where this Nocturne's actually going to be.
Ooh, they might actually pincer him right now, though. Keep an eye on this one. Shockwave going to pull him in, and oh boy, Bey's forced to flash away.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a little bit unnecessary, to be honest, on Bey's part. You know, they are going to give the shove over towards Mission, and that will allow him to walk away for the blue. I imagine it's going to happen pretty soon off. And Juhan's looking for an attempt here.
Koala goes very deep on this one. He's got the great health, but not really worth it on that exchange.
He could be dead right here.
Oh, he gets away. Just barely. Shun's going to block for him. Oh, he might die now.
Yeah.
Sums. Oh, trade back. Yeah, Koala, you know you messed that up, dude.
Okay, that was completely unexpected, but congratulations to PSG. I feel like they actually just survived the summer downtime. What was that?
I have absolutely no idea. Koala went very deep, almost into tower range, and I mean it's the freest hook of Kyling's life.
Yeah. I think
telling you, man,
should not have.
This guy is playing a different game. It's 5D chess. I don't understand the rules.
Here
comes the Nocturne, another Paranoia, Unspeakable Horror. It's out of range into the Gangplank ultimate, but they limp out.
Oh, that's a pretty big waste of ultimates right there. They dropped 3 ultimates for nothing. And that just means that, PSG can waltz into this Herald now. That was CFO. I think they're playing way too desperate, completely unnecessary.
Yeah, they might be feeling the pressure right now. It is a game 5, but you have the scaling comp. Why are you going in for the unnecessary plays? PSG will absolutely take advantage of that as they clear away the Herald here, waiting for that last hit. And Shun's going to be able to push this wave, maybe get a plate, but, I mean, yeah, that's not great for CFO. As they had the lead, they had the edge. Gemini going to find a 1v2, Blasco taken to get out of there. And there's a lane swap coming in.
But there is dive threat here on the 2-man as we see Juhan coming in with the Herald now.
Okay.
And then they're not going to inch for it. Bey could come here. He does have the TP, so CFO have to be incredibly careful about this one. He could realm warp and then TP back to lane. They are playing pretty far back, but I do expect PSG to just race for this first tower. That'd be a very strong move for them.
I love this from PSG right now. Juhan does take a little bit of damage off the tower shot. Rest is going to try to keep that wave cleared. Shelly will get the charge down. Should be a few more plates, and I don't think they get the tower, but Unified's still threatening here.
Yeah, and they can keep this one going. They're under no pressure here. On the flip side, you do still have Bey starting to roam around with the realm warp. The bot lane has to be very careful about the potential for the engage here.
Yeah, this is first brick.
It's delayed, but they will take it.
Nicely done. Good adaptation and taking advantage of the timing window they got themselves and the mistakes that CFO made. So, Ornn definitely can hold the wave a little bit, hold the lane a little bit, and Rest is, he's slowed down as a result as well. I mean, this is kind of a double whammy here for PSG.
Yeah, I feel like this is just CFO. I don't know what they were thinking, but they just threw 3 ultimates, got absolutely nothing for it, and PSG were like, okay, you actually have no combat power now, so we're just going to walk in and take all of it.
Teleport to bot? Mission? I mean, it's okay.
It's a wave.
It's a wave.
But just look
I was about to say he's got Spellbook, and I'm like, wait, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, 2,000 gold advantage out of nothing, so PSG doing a great job at honestly just picking up CFO's mistakes and running with it. Yeah.
Oh, they're running CFO around the map here. Dragon going to be pinged here by PSG, and actually it's CFO that are moving a little bit further away from it. And this might be another opening to keep the Drake stack on. It is the Hex stack. We won't get a Rift this time around, but at least one Dragon on the map. And Rest has been a little slowed down. He hasn't even been able to catch up to Hanabi and farm.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. When you're playing with the Nocturne, you definitely want one of your lanes to be winning. And that allows you to open up a lot of these side lane picks. It's not going to be the case when you're having an Orianna and a GP that is behind. Mission misses the ward right there.
Ooh,
but he does
that's a mistake.
He does ping his support about it, though, so they definitely see it.
Not safe enough to clear. And this is going to be the Dragon started here between Bey and Juhan, but skirmish potential's there. You've got all those ultimates back, but I don't think CFO are interested in fighting it. They might just handshake for the mid tower if they can grab it.
Yeah, the mid tower is still incredibly healthy at this point, so unable to get that one. And we're starting to see kind of the side lane and the just map allocation difference coming in from PSG. They were able to bring so much tempo into those plays. If you look at the top side, this is very difficult for Rest to get any sort of advantage. He cannot trade when there's no wards up in that top whatsoever, so he's gonna have to back out. And I feel like CFO have been pigeonholed into the late game strategy. And the big difference here is, you know, how much can Viego farm up? Even though he hasn't been able to get any kills, I feel like he's done a very good job at keeping ahead of the Nocturne in this game.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's an important thing. And he's still going to have that kill threat. He's still going to be able to have at least an item diff. And, yeah, again, the ward coverage from PSG is just on a next level right now, as they'll at least be able to clear it away, but not a lot they can take anytime soon. It will be a Mountain Rift, keep in mind, as well. So that's the first time we'll get that this game. Or this series, I should say.
Really important for both of these teams. I think slightly better for PSG. And they already have the double Drake stack, so should be pretty happy with this one. And now the game tends to slow down. If you look at Hanabi, he's playing this very carefully. He knows that Nocturne could be anywhere, so he's not going to show himself post-river. He's just going to be happy to take away the rest of the map. And on the other side, PSG, I think... Ooh. Oh, they're going to find...
Yeah, it's Koala though. He's okay. He's okay. They don't want to go for. As you mentioned, they're slowing the game down, right? And they're okay with that for right now. Even though the late game feels better for CFO and their composition, it's also where PSG have been able to thrive a little bit better in the plays. And if this does go very, very late, it's a territory they're familiar with. At the same time, though, CFO, they may not have the same tempo they were working with before, but they are trying to make moves around the map nonetheless. Just not a lot they can take. No objectives really available to them, and it's a good spread from PSG Talon to try and cover all the bases here.
This is honestly a bit of a perplexing game for CFO. I felt like they just handed over the reins completely to PSG. 2 back-to-back failed plays that were absolutely terrible. And
might be another.
I think CFO, they need to know that, okay, you can slow this one down, true, but you have to gain back your composure. That's the most important thing for this squad right now. I feel like they're getting these jitters. They've been here so many times before, and each and every time it was either Flash Wolves or PSG that just stopped them from reaching their own goals. They might be getting some deja vu, some PTSD, but they need to calm themselves and just take this one, you know, like the matchup is supposed to be taken. They started this game with such a massive lead, and they just kind of threw it away. So we're in for a kind of a late mid game. But I still think that Viego does need to still find some kills here and there. He could definitely do it in team fights, so not putting it beyond him. And I think for PSG's game plan is you just focus on GP. As long as GP isn't able to split push, the paranoia usage goes down quite a lot as well, and you just hold steady.
Yeah, it's a good strategy, and it's, you know, Rest has kind of been pretty big focal point here for the CFO victory strategy, and the gangplank is going to get bigger and bigger, but if you keep him locked up in this side lane, you're able to trade out with him. The team fight potential is huge from Hanabi if he wants to get the teleport in, but Koala and Shun might get caught a little bit. They are out on the Abyssal Dive. Shun preemptively uses his Flame Chompers, keeping the wave cleared here, but it's not the safest at the moment into the Aphelios and the Rise and the Nautilus. One errant hook could spell doom.
Yeah, and we have to pay close attention to the guns right here. The ones you're really afraid about are the Gravitum up, but these are really nice teamfight guns for PSG as well. They're just going to march into the Herald. They know they have the far superior 5v5 composition. It's almost impossible for the backline to be reached from CFO's side without losing members and giving Juhans those resets. So they're very comfortable moving into this, and I think CFO are responding quite well as well. They know they can't just face check blindly into this one, so they have to win the shove war in the mid lane. That's what they're going for, and they have dragged it out. If they can drag it out a little bit longer, they can at least get staggered objectives and then try to break with the Mountain Drake. So I think PSG's move here is to, once the minions have kind of just been eliminated here, they should start moving into the river. They don't want staggered objectives. They want to fight one by one. And yeah, once this wave is clear, I expect them to try and go for that Herald, but no, they don't go. Okay, they're just straight up resetting.
All right. I mean, this gives CFO an inside track on the Mountain Dragon if they want it. But they're also resetting too. Both teams kind of handshake that.
For CFO, the Herald doesn't really have that much value. This is a very late Herald, and they would prefer to get the best out of the Dragon here. So I think both teams are kind of on the same track. They're just like, okay, no plate Herald, whatever. Let's just all converge on the Drake here. But I'm a little bit surprised the CFO not trying to contest this a little bit harder. The third Mountain Drake just going to be given over for free, and I just think they need more time.
Yeah, I think they kind of were slow on the draw there. It's going to go down, so now it's Soul Point, 17 minutes. PSG are the ones trying to accelerate this game.
This is not a Drake you can give over. Not if you're running Nautilus and you're trying to cut people up. I'm a little bit perplexed by this one. I feel like CFO needed to play a little bit more forward, given that back. But they are trying to hyper farm up Rest. He's going to go for the Executioner right here. So strong 2-item spike. Let's see if he can do anything with it.
Now they're actually going to be moving for Herald themselves. As you said, it's not as important of objective, but if it's free, you can get it. In fact, they're not. I thought maybe they'd turn on that one, but instead they just keep on pushing the wave in mid. Shun is on the front line. This is dangerous here, but he does find some great rocket and zap poke onto Juhan.
Yeah,
and he loves playing on the edge.
We are going to get the Banshees coming out. Not the Banshees, the Kraken Slayer. So a lot of damage coming in from Shun in this matchup here. You know, he typically has gone for the Gale Force most of the time, but he's feeling pretty ballsy in this one. Because he has to Tom Kench, I would have to imagine.
Yeah, so, you've got an escape. It's situational. You don't get it as much as you used to, but there you go.
I feel like CFO are putting way too much pressure on themselves for contesting this single Drake. CFO, they pretty much have to find a pick before the Drake happens. If PSG set, they don't have a chance.
And they're in on to the Herald, a very late one, as you mentioned, 18.5 minutes to get it. Wouldn't be around for much longer anyways, and this is happening in Vision, but I don't think CFO are in really a position to try and contest. They maybe try to cut off Hanabi here, but he's out safe. Maybe they get bot lane turret out of it. I mean, yeah, Rest is just hyper farming, so that seems to be the strategy for the time being.
Very interesting to see this one. They're basically betting that the Executioner is going to be worth it for giving up multiple objectives, but I kind of doubt that. If they want to contest the Mountain Drake, they most likely will have to give up mid in the next push. The Herald is going to be there for PSG. They can just play a very easy force someone to respawn mid, and for CFO, I'm not sure what they can do here. They do catch out Bay on pretty much a bad rotation here. Able to put a little bit of damage here.
Chip damage is always good. They're actually going to teleport into the top lane. I think the read there was that Bay was trying to maybe push it, or at the very least, like, Mission just felt like, all right, well, you know, it's going to come back soon enough anyways. Mission's been pretty loose about his teleports to cover waves.
Yeah.
He's kind of been like the backup plan against the side push now.
I gotta say, I feel like CFO are the ones coming into this one a little bit jittery-ish. But
yeah,
Shun
they might be. Oh, Shun
has
playing
a lot of confidence.
So far forward. He's got Koala, but yeah, you don't want to push your luck on that one if you don't have to, and you know the Nocturne's about to be gone, so trying to keep those side lanes going at the 20 minutes about to tick over here, but yeah, we really want to keep an eye on that Dragon timer as well, as it is going to be Soul Point for PSG in just a couple more. You can't afford to let PSG get set up, so they need to keep these waves pushed, but it gets more and more dangerous here. Zap is dodged. Shun's still on the front lines, finding a little bit of chip damage.
I think Shun's calculations here is, as long as the Gravitum isn't there and there isn't a potential for both Koala and himself to get locked up, he's going to try and push his luck. So Rest, they finally get the vision control, but Rest has to have the best barrels of his life to make this all worth it. They gave up so much on the map for him to just farm those 2 towers, and now it is time for the reckoning. Here we go, we're 1 minute into it. CFO are pushing this in.
Shockwave! Okay, Bay does get caught, but he goes into the stasis. Here we go. Call of the Forge God. Gemini's actually going to be able to spell shield through it. Do they have the turn on this one? It's a big cannon barrage, but Kaiwing is zoned away. Mission swallowed up by the Kench, and they have to cut their losses at this point. No more wave to work with, so they can't keep it going, but they're ready for round 2 off the backs. I think they get tower here. Good barrel chain. No, they don't. The teleport is committed.
PSG win big here. They burn all of the ultimates right before the Drake. That was, I'm not sure about that, CFO. Like, you didn't need to force that one. You could have gone for picks, but not those, you know, straight-up picks underneath the enemy tower. That seemed far too ambitious, and now they just don't have the tools to fight.
Oh, they're going to lose mid-turret as well. I mean, this opens up even more of the map for PSG. 30 seconds and counting here on Mountain Soul. Gotta keep an eye on those ultimate timers. It's just the Jinx Rocket. That's not the one you're looking for here. Sure, you might be able to get a lucky steal, but you don't want to rely on a low percentage play.
Yeah, and this is Mountain Drake. That's going to be absolutely huge against a team that's running so many carries here.
You need a pick, but you don't have the tools for it right now, and PSG know exactly what CFO are going to try to do. Dragon's live, spotted immediately, and oh boy, this is not going to be easy. Keep your eye on Gemini's ult. It's very close, but it's already going to get bursted down. They're going to try to get in here. Here comes the paranoia. Waiting for it. No, it's already going to go, but they have to win the fight now. Soul is on the turn. Here's PSG. Bay takes out Rest, and this investment has not paid off, but Shun
still alive, though.
Turn back onto Juhan. Here comes Bay. Koala going to get caught. Rockets are big, but there is the tank in. Rune Prison, and Hanabi is going to be able to take him down with the help of Unified. Shutdown Cold's there. It's a 2-for-2 so far, but a hugely worth trade for PSG Talon.
Yeah, what a big win here for PSG, and this is just the patience coming in. I am having trouble reading CFO this game. I feel like they're just going for such low percentage plays over and over again. They force themselves into the tower. They burn everything right before the Dragon. It's not even a pick that is of high percentage here. They knew that they had the stasis. We're going to watch this one again, starting from the team fight right here. Look at Rest. He has to get that vision back onto the Drake, but Gravitum's already running on him. He gets hit by the depth charge, instantly killed, and this was everything that CFO was banking on. The 2-item GP, he doesn't even get a barrel chain off whatsoever. Shin does a very admirable job, but he's facing way too many players running him down, and you see the double flash from Soul Lanes just to pick him up. I think Mission is incredibly lucky to escape here with his life, and this game is looking, you know, like despite I think some of the late game edges here, PSG are looking so incredibly strong. So far the Nocturne has done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they've gotten tempo, but it's, of course, off the back of CFO just getting antsy. You know, we're 23.5 minutes. The Soul is on. That's a mountain that's massive here for PSG. Sure, CFO have a gold lead, but yeah, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, they're gonna need to hold the line for a while. This is a position they are very unfamiliar with.
Yeah, this game is turning up incredibly weird right here, and I was talking about the jitters, and weirdly enough, it's not Shun that has the jitters. It's everyone else.
It's all the veterans.
Yep.
Oh no, Gale Force. Okay, into the belly of Kench. Whew, should not have been there, but still.
Yep, they get him out. Still a big cooldown here, and PSG are pretty happy to push their luck. They know they have the superior 5v5. The side lane pressure, they're just completely ignoring it. They're going straight for the prize.
Rest is left. He's not there anymore. They're going to try to contest this, but this is a fast Baron shred right now. Oh, CFO, you need the perfect engage. There's the ball. PSG, they're going to respect it.
Juhan's a little bit low here, so they do have to pull off here. But the Realm Warp for the engage, they're going to catch Rest.
Oh, Rest. Oh, no. Okay, he burns Flash. That's hugely worth. Once again. Dance continues.
Yeah, this is so smart. They can just run this play back once more. I think they need to pay a little bit more attention of who's actually tanking the Baron. That was... the Juhan taking it was definitely a mistake right there. They can just fix that. I feel like they could run this play back so many times. Like, even Unified can take at this point. He has the Bloodthirster. He has so much shielding going on there.
Yeah, and this is a timing window they can take advantage of, right? I mean, the Jinx is not on a 3-item yet, so the deletion's not coming in there. The Gangplank, I mean, Rest needs to look so much better in this next fight. His positioning was just not there. And, yeah, I mean, they focused so much on power farming him. Clearly setting him behind early, PSG, it was a winning strategy.
Yeah, I do think that PSG themselves are aware that their teamfight comp, when it does come to the late game, there's definitely still outs for CFO. If it goes to 3 items, the equations do start to change.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's
we just start
to
see that LDR. I mean, that's a difference now. If Shun can stay alive in this one, look at the setup, the brush bait. CFO
Mission does have
playing
the
it safe.
Was willing to walk up a little bit.
All right, good wave clear here. I mean, but without the outer tower falling, I mean, there's a decent PSG fallback point on this one.
Yeah,
they can push forward.
Kind of a weird position for either side. I don't think there's anything really up for grabs, so I don't expect any risky plays from either. They're just trying to. Yeah. I
mean, this is peeling Rest away. I mean, if he were to just sit bot, he can probably get that tower on a few of these, but he's unwilling to commit to being able to teleport. They don't really have a ward in position except right in front of the pit.
And we have to point out that Chun doesn't have the flash in this one. PSG will respond if they go any further.
Okay, barrel chain comes through, but there's really nothing else to clear here. Oh, Shun playing on the edge. He has the Kench, but that's it, and they're going to back away. I can't believe how long this mid tower has lived for all the pressure CFO put on it.
Yeah. This is perfectly comfortable for PSG. You know, Ornn might not be getting any farm this game, but he doesn't really care, and here comes the engage.
Yeah, Call the Forge God. Koala is going to get the swallow up onto mission. The knockup is there. The turn, and do they have any more damage? No, Gemini, the unspeakable horror, goes onto Bay. It doesn't find its mark, and after Paranoia and the Kench ultimate burn, that is going to be the go button for PSG.
Yeah, but a lot of
mission
stuff
back,
burned.
yes, TP.
A lot of stuff actually burned on the PSG side as well, and I think CFO actually responded with that one very nicely. The only problem is they can't sneak into the Baron Pit anymore.
Rest is caught right now, and here you go. Gemini on the front line. He doesn't really get the fear off. Rest is trying to 2v1 right now, but this is tough. Shockwave going to land in, not do enough damage here. Exhaust is down. Rest is going to drop in. This one, and Bay is going to be the one to take him down. Down goes Mission as well. PSG on the charge right now. They find Gemini for the double kill, and this is PSG Talon running wild. Shun trying to turn it away, but Bay,
he got him.
Gets the kill, and a decisive fight in the favor of PSG Talon. Koala on the run, but it is only a matter of time.
Oh, and this 30-second death timers, PSG can just close this one down at 28. They're going to turn around for the Elder Dragon, and there's absolutely no response here. They're going to go for the absolute safest play here to close the game down. With this Elder, it also means Baron on the docket for them. CFO, their third item spike doesn't matter whatsoever.
This is a huge swing. PSG turning it in their favor. What a long series this has been. This fight, it started pretty good for CFO, but Rest could never get to his team. And the CFO ultimates just didn't land where they needed to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think Koala was actually completely outside of position right here. He doesn't get to do anything here. He doesn't have to devour either way, so he's just a complete non-factor on the top side. I really question what the idea was behind that positioning. Koala literally, he doesn't even body block.
Yeah, it's been a little iffy there. So, with the Elder secured, it's right over to the Baron. Try and pick up all the objectives and march it in for the win. This is going to be oh so hard. And will CFO try to contest it? They actually try to go for the mid, but Hanabi is able to still hold it. They don't even have this outer turret. Shun will finally finish it for an objective bounty, but man, that is absolutely not worth. The rocket is way too late. They're going to walk away from this one. And can they hold the line?
I think PSG is going to look for the straight-up decisive team fight down the mid lane. They have the empowered minions. They have the front-to-back team fight with this Ornn right now, and there's no setup time for CFO. They can't even get the barrels to land.
Ooh. PSG looking for the finisher. Shy at 30 minutes. It's definitely a much faster game, and they knew they had to do it here. Inhibitor going to get cracked in the mid, and it's going to be the desperate hold right now for CTBC Flying Oyster. Their hopes of flying high to MSI hang in the balance as the call of the Forge God comes in. Gemini turns out the lights, and that's going to be enough to spook PSG for now. A lot of ultimates burn, but they're coming in with a fresh second wave.
They've got triple ultimates down right here, and the Elder is still going to last for just popped off right there. They're going in.
Realm Warp. Doesn't get taken. Just a little bit of a bait here, and this is going to be the collapse in. Last Nexus turret on. You can see Rest is deleted in this one. PSG, that's the go button, turning it on, keeping everybody locked up, and the Nexus is bare. PSG know they can take this game. They want to try and zone them off for the fight, and they have done it. PSG Talon back-to-back champions.
Once again, PSG dominate the PCS. This game was a real nail-biter for them. There was so much on the line, their reputation as the best in the PCS, but they pulled through in the end. And I just think this series shows you, sometimes it's not about having the best players in every role, it's about the discipline. They just know how to play this game measured. They know how to use their cooldowns to their advantage. And I think, honestly, that I hate to say it, but CFO really saved their worst for last. This was a game where there were so many jitters and so many inexplicable attempts.
They just needed to hang on to it for the late game, but this is a team that clearly still has some issues in the clutch, in the moment when they have a tough series on their hands. PSG, they've been here before. They were even here last split up against the likes of Megabank Beyond Gaming, and well, that is going to be it. That's GG. PSG Talent pick up another split here, a very hard-earned one. CFO and the rest of the PCS making them work for it, but that is number 4 title overall, and 3 in a row.
Came down right to the last second to finally snag it up. There was a lot of points in this series and in the playoffs overall where, we were kind of worried about PSG. My original estimations going into playoffs was PSG are the only team that actually has a top-tier team fight. They actually are the only team out of the J-Team universes that really not out of they're outside of the universe, but they understand how to play objectives very well. And I just think it's that consistency, the macro play, the understanding that you don't have to force hard mechanical that allow them to kind of persevere. Remember, this is a team that had to play 10 games back-to-back in these 2 days, and they still were able to triumph.
It's incredible the tenacity that this team has, and I do think that even though we have put some critique on the likes of Bae and Juhan, they have clearly meshed well with the team. They've gotten into the system. We know from reports that from day one, the moment they were moved over, they were hitting the books hard to learn Mandarin, to get the communication, and this is the PSG talent system. They are trying to develop their talent and be the best they can be, and they have now punched themselves another ticket to MSI here. They'll be heading to Busan. I'm sure Bae and Juhan will be happy to go and visit their home nation once again. And for PSG talent, I mean, it's no longer the Maple and River days, but there is definitely a lot to like about this squad. Unified, we were wondering if he maybe had some jitters himself, but he clearly conquered them, and Shun made him work for it. But man, like, when this team is on point, they are beautiful, and they're just such an incredible squad at understanding game states, at how to take advantage of macro mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of this I feel like does come from their coaching staff, and I would not be surprised if PSG actually are able to have a better international performance than their previous games. Their previous iteration was very much focused on tempo, and when you're only playing tempo, it means you have to have mechanical edges over your opponent. This version of PSG, even though in my opinion the mechanical ceiling is lower, they actually play, I think, a type of game that has a higher success rate in international games, because they can play for the late game, they can play for scaling. A lot of their decisions are very solid. They know how to play with cooldowns. And, I think we have to embrace them as the true kings of the PCS, whatever iteration this is. Coming back into this game, though, I feel like the big issue for CFO, outside of just, I have no idea why they were doing, just throwing their leads, they didn't get a split push lane. That was the most important thing right here, because their setup was much about a 1-3-1. If you're able to stretch the map out, Paranoia gets a lot of value. We only saw defensive Paranoia this game. There was no stretching the lanes. PSG was able to lane swap again and shut down Rest like they did so many times in this series. Make sure he doesn't get the 1v1 against a tank. And they just were able to roll straight into team fights where CFO just botched multiple engages and catches before giving themselves a chance to actually fight.
Yeah, CFO definitely got in their heads a little bit, but also just kudos to PSG for finding a way to shut down some of those advantages. I'm not just talking about the 2v2 down bottom. I really like the lane swap to try and cut up the GP. It was a nice double whammy, because you not only keep him down, you can make a race for that first brick and try to grab some gold back from yourself. And they just had total control of the Dragon. We talked about red side being important for the pick ban, but how about being important for the Dragon control? I mean, you have the open area for it a little bit, and they just were able to have so much better position. And yeah, hands up to Hanabi. He was holding it down in the bottom lane, really, because he was swapped down there a good chunk of the time. Some of those Call of the Forge gods certainly set things up. He may be physically apart from the team, but he certainly was right there next to them for their big win.
Oh man, the evolution of Hanabi has been such a breathtaking moment. If you remember the last split, he was actually getting solo killed quite frequently in the regular season, but that has not been the case. He's actually been one of our top solo killers in this split. He's had 6 solo kills. I think he's tied with Rest right up there with the most solo kills into the top lane. And he's been able to do it all. He's been playing strong side, he's been playing split push, he's been drawing bans, a lot of times triple bans throughout the postseason on all 3 of his main champions, Ornn, GP, and Gnar coming into this one. So I think something really clicked for Hanabi going to Worlds. We thought Hanabi was going to have a very rough time in the group, and he actually turned out to be like the best top laner of the group. He didn't fold to Xiaohu like we thought he would, and he was able to stomp out the rest of the top laner. So something happened in Iceland. He brought it back into the PCS, and he's rolling with it.
Yeah, I really love to see Hanabi really stepping it up. And it's also a very tough top lane pool. We've had new talent and old talent, and he's been able to stand up to them all. And for PSG to take themselves another title, they have absolutely established one heck of a dynasty here in the PCS era. And it looks good to see. I'm so excited to see them on the international stage once again. Cannot wait for May to get here. But we are going on a short break. We'll be back with an interview with Riichu and the winners PSG Talon right after this.